top 5 cards that you're going to want to pick up to make sure you guys have for Flundereeze. And you're like, wait a minute, we're talking about Flundereeze already? Yes, I've been playing this deck quite a lot. Even actually had a very intellectual conversation with somebody on why their opinion was wrong about why Scary C is actually a good card, but that's a story for another day. So let's dig on into top 5 cards that you're going to want to have for when Flundereeze comes out. Make sure you guys smash up the crap out and subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome content. So, Flundereeze are the new interesting bird archetype, or wing beast archetype, that relies on normal summons. And many of you guys may or may not have actually had the chance to mess around, or if you've at least read these, you gotta understand that this deck's entire gimmick is going to go normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon. And after a lot of testing, I think that this deck is pretty good, honestly. So we'll do a deck profile if we get some huge likes on this video. But the first thing you want to pick up over here is Mega Rhizo. And you're like, wait a minute. Yes, I know the card has already gone up in price. I know it's not a good situation, but for the most part, across all testing that I've seen so far, 1 seems to be the ample push for it. So you can tribute this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster, which actually sometimes comes up in the deck. You can tribute a penguin to deploy it, but it's not what we care about. So if this card is tribute summon, target 1 card in the field and 1 card in either graveyard. Also, if this card was tributed by tributing a wind monster, you can target an additional card on the field. Okay, so you can place the first targets back on the top of the deck in any order, and then return the additional target, if any, to the hand. So wait a minute here. So you get a triple interruption here. So you can, hey, you tribute that wind, guess what? 1 thing in the graveyard, 1 thing on the field, bada bing, bada boom, back to the top of the decks. Well, that's really good, right? Absolutely, that is. And getting that additional bounce. So actually, the cool thing is, Flundereeze actually allow you to summon this card on your opponent's turn, which, through the field spell, gives you the ability to, when your opponent normal summons, to deploy this, or one of their trap cards gives you the ability to normal summon a level 4 monster and start combo. And that's honestly where this card starts to come up in a lot of early game pushes. So, hey, guess what, guys? It's totally searchable out of the deck. Yeah, I know, right? It's when you get a searchable monarch during the opponent's turn, yeah, things start to go wrong. So, yeah, this is honestly, as a one-of, it is one of the power cards behind this deck. Have you ever heard of Pyramid Playmats? Well, this is the new Suede Playmat, and I just want to say that the touch on this is one of the nicest pieces I've had. This is one of the older pieces here, but I just wanted to say that the suede material here, oh my gosh, this feels so nice. This is now available on all of their unlimited playmats. I'm going to leave a link down below to them, that way you guys can check them out. And I must say that this fabric is one of the smoothest I've ever actually had the chance to feel. Now, number 2 here is actually going to be Dimension Shifter. And you're already probably wheezing, going, Robbie, why? So, if you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, and send this card from your hand to the graveyard until the end of the next turn. Any cards in the graveyard is banished instead. For what I've played in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, this card tears the format apart. Or you're just like me and you draw it 9 games in a row, just testing against people. But that's a story for another day. So, hey, by the way, all the Flundereeze cards banish themselves when they leave the field. Oh, well, that's fine. Everything is already pretty much just a banishing element to the deck at that point. It's not a real problem. So D-Shifter just allows you to, quick effect at any point in the game, go ahead and shoot this bad boy and fully disrupt the opponent. Alright, well that's really good. Now the most interesting thing about Dimension Shifter in this deck is the interaction with Rhizo. So during your opponent's turn, if they do something cheeky and you don't like what they're doing, you've established the shifter, well, you can go ahead and deploy your Rhizo. Alright, you can send that shifter back to the top of your deck, and you can actually shifter them again. I'm currently on a 3-turn shifter streak here, which means I've resolved 3 shifters in 1 game with this deck, and that shouldn't actually be happening because, well, hey, Rhizo says you can go ahead and, it's either player's graveyard, so you can go ahead and tuck that shifter right back on top of your deck, and guess what? You're going to draw it for turn. You have a big old smile on your face, as your opponent probably should have rage quit at least on resolution of the 2nd shifter. So, yeah, that's how good that actually is. Now, Next up on our list here is actually going to be Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmo. I am currently not playing Dimensional Fissure or Macro in the build that I am testing. But I want to add a side note here because at the very least, I think they should be in the side deck. Now, my build might not be absolute best at the moment, but I have seen quite a lot of builds that are actually meaning either D-Fissure or Macrocosmo for the same level of interaction for this deck. Alright? You basically get access to pull back whatever you want. So all the birds will recur back to the hand anyway. And then Mr. Toucan Sam gets the ability to target any of your banished Flundereeze cards and add it back to your hand. So you're not losing anything. Alright, the downside to playing Macro DeFi in the deck, well, they're going first cards. Man, Shifter's the going second card. He's the one we care about. But if you open DeFi plus like birds and combo, you literally throw it gas to the floor and you go and ruin your opponent's day. Alright? I mean, obviously, like, Harpy's Feather Duster will be the bane of your existence for hitting those particular cards, but anytime that you can establish a good floodgate against the opponent and just laugh at them, you're going to be in that big advantage position. So, as I said, not a super big fan of them in the main deck as of yet. When I explore other options here, we will see if my opinion changes on that, because I've heard really mixed opinions on both of them, depending on what the rest of the general interactions and things kind of come out of the deck at this point. I know, right? That's really half-butted answer, but it ends up being like that sometimes, guys. So, yes, you are going to need a Macro and a D-Fissure. It's not like they're very expensive as it is. So, let's talk about the expensive cards that you're going to need. You're probably like, ugh, I know. Next up on the list here is Pot of Duality, Pot of Prosperity, and or Extravagance. So this entire deck's gimmick relies on normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon. I think we can resolve 5 normal summons in a turn. Be careful, you can get Nibiru in this deck. It's not a good time, alright? So, upon normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon. At the end of all of that, though, guess what doesn't matter? Your extra deck. Oh, but here's the thing. You do need to have an extra deck built to a specific degree, because you can actually Zeus your opponent in this deck. Dogmatica Maximus still is a card. Sometimes you normal summon, get locked into Link Karibo, or have to make Link Karibo and pass. That all being said, though, you are going to pretty much focus on the additional draw power. Currently, I'm on playing 8 of these, so 3 Duality, 3 Pot of Prosperity, 2 Extravagance. I think a few people will be like, well, that's a lot. Well, honestly, if you open up Prosperity, Duality in your hand, as long as you don't get drolled, you don't really care. Like, you're going to filter, set up your hand, and then you're going to start carving things out and start playing the game. Like, that's kind of the point of playing these cards, is they net you these additional resources for you to capitalize and build that game plan that you want to focus on. And like I said, if you have no restrictions in your gameplay besides, getting Droll and Lockbirded and Lancey at that point in time, what do you really care? Alright, like, there's no problem. Alright, if you get drolled, well, you're no worse off than Drytron is, or, some of the other decks in today's format. So, I think that the high number is fine, gives you more options to side out and adjust, but you are going to want to focus on having at least 3 dualities, and then some other variants to those, because no confliction, right? And the last thing that you're going to want to pick up here is a combination of other hand traps. So, but not limited to Ash Blossoms, Infinite Impermanence. I'm currently testing 1 Ghost Bell in this deck. This was actually Lund's idea, and I'm not gonna lie, that 1 Ghost Bell has came up a lot. It's more than one of should. So here's the thing, alright? This entire deck is 1 card engines go. You have, actually, the Rabina is full combo. If you open up the map plus any other normal summon, that's also full combo. So then that means that the rest of the deck needs to be rounded out with the ability to go second, which means at that point in time, yes, you can give consideration to something else, like Called by the Grave, and drop down on a possible hand trap to have a preventer, but honestly, I think Ash, Shifter, you know, imperms. I did mention the Shifter on a separate note because I think that that card has a whole nother level of interaction with this deck that just puts your opponent in a worse situation overall. So, currently, Ash Blossoms, Imperms, and Bells are what I'm really looking at for testing for currently what's going on with Flundereeze. So, top 5 things that I think you should be picking up in anticipation for Flundereeze. And of course, if you guys want to see my list at some point here, I've got it both on DB and I have it also papered up, ready to go. I've been enjoying this deck so much. I know it's so far away, but it is really nice to get the chance to talk about this. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more awesome content. Of course, leave a comment down below and make sure you smash the ever-loving grab that subscribe button. See your beautiful faces back here later on today with some more cool awesome content. Peace out, guys. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.